In this special episode, we'll be bringing you all of the best bits from Mastermind on Mondays, where Ryan answers your burning questions around business, entrepreneurship, property investment, and more. Just post your questions, problems, or challenges in the community group on Facebook called The Property Crash Course and tune into the live show called Mastermind on Mondays at 10 a.m. I hope you enjoyed this special episode. Let us know what you think at RyanOttoX or leave a review.
All right, brilliant. Well, first of all, welcome to the show. This is one of the first new live shows, a live format that we're doing twice a week. One of these sessions every single week. It's Mastermind Mondays, and we're just talking to other business people, entrepreneurs, investors, finding out where they are in their business, how things are performing from them, and if there's anything else that we can do to help them to, drive their business forward, or just share some ideas and tactics and strategies right now during the heart of the pandemic, during the coronavirus. So if you want to just introduce yourself, and let's just get straight into this.
Hi, I'm Ashneet. I'm 21 years of age and I'm an entrepreneur looking to go into the property industry. Of course, I've got some experience. I previously worked at a high street estate agent, not going to mention any names. And obviously, due to the coronavirus, I lost my job, which happened. It's life, and I took that as an inspiration, as a sign that, look, I should start something of my own. And coming from an electrician background, I was like, I didn't enjoy that industry. Going straight into estate agency and the property industry, I really, really, really actually enjoyed it. And I absolutely fell in love with it. Every morning when I went to work, it didn't feel like I was working. So I was like, why not set something up of my own in this industry? Like I said, I've been into entrepreneurship for the last couple of years and reading books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I'm sure you can see on my social platforms like TikTok. My TikTok is Ashneet163, if you guys want to check that out. And I'm currently in the position where set up a business. It's called Essential Estate Agents. Short for that is EEA, just to help people remember it better. And I'm in a position where I want to start rent-to-rent as a cash flow, because rent-to-rent is a way, from my personal reach, is a way cash flow can be increased. You can have cash flow quite instantly, right? If I rent a property out from the landlord today, tomorrow through Booking.com, Airbnb, and other platforms, I can have tenants in there straight away and have cash coming in. And for a brand new business, the most important thing is cash flow. And on the other hand, I lack investment. And like I said, I'm only 21, I haven't been working for my whole life to have 100K sitting in my bank account. So I lack investment. Therefore, having my savings, the savings the average savings you have, I'm more than happy to invest that in order to get instant cash flow to build my business from the ground up. My current position is learning about rent-to-rent. I just want to gain as much knowledge as possible from Ryan. You, of course, as you've been a veteran, I don't want to make you feel bad, but you're probably doing this as long as I've been alive. So you're probably one of the best people I can talk to gain knowledge from. From your podcasts, I listened to all of them. I think I've listened to all of them pretty much. And I can tell you've been doing this since 2000? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, year 2000 when I first bought my first investment property.
So I've been living in the UK since 2000. So, you're probably one of the best people that I can learn from. Therefore I took this opportunity in order to come on with you and take as many notes down and get my business to a point where your business is. Like that's the ideal dream. And of course, I also have an image in my mind where I want to create a business which has a legacy, not just a business for myself. So Essential Estate Agents, I want to continue that on till my generation. So in the future, I'll have kids, their kids. I want it to go on. It's an analogy I like to use when I explain this concept is when you're in the nursery, you're lucky you have that spare bag of apples which the teacher gives out at the end of the school. I want to be that child that takes the apple, obviously shares it out with the family, takes the seeds from it, plants it in his garden, and make that tree grow so the family eats forever and ever. That's the ideal goal for me. And of course, you have to start somewhere. That's why I'm here today, to inspire other people, number one. Number two, to learn And number three, to pass the message that it doesn't matter if you've been dropped during the coronavirus. This is the best time. You have so much time for you to start set up your own thing. Like the boundaries are endless.
They certainly are. I mean, some of those things that you just said there just give me goosebumps about the planting the seed and for the legacy and for it to feed your family and everybody else. That stuff there, you can see this on the cameras on social right now. That's giving me goosebumps. So yeah, so much that you shared there about where you are, what you want to do. I really appreciate the kind things that you said about following the podcast and everything else. That really means a lot. So we're literally just going to go deep now, just a mastermind session, the two of us and everybody else obviously on social, but the two of us right here just going deep, just so we can literally just give you as much as you need to get you going or to bring you from here to here. So that's what this session is all about. I can see what we've got an error message on the screen, so I'm just going to flick screens and just record on another platform because it stopped recording for some reason. Maybe there's a glitch with the internet, so just give me 2 seconds. And if we straight back, just going to hit record over here. And
just going to get my notepad and pen ready.
There we go, that should be it. Yeah, it's recording again now. Okay, brilliant. So first of all, lots of things that you said there. So let's go back to the rent to rent. I think the most important thing you probably said there is obviously about getting the cash flow into your business right now. And I mean, rent to rent is a fantastic strategy. It's a way that instead of the conventional way to buy properties, you already know this, but this is for other people as well. Instead of the conventional way, which we used to buy that way, and you start off that way thinking you have to raise a mortgage deposit, you have to buy a property, you have to get solicitors, you have to pay stamp duty, and then you've got to do some work to the property, and then you own it. And then you can do the exact same thing you want to do with it now, which is rent to rent, but you don't actually need to own it. So you can save so much time, so much money, so much hassle and headache, and make a lot more than if you actually bought the property and put all the deposits in, etc. So it's a very good strategy to go fast, and it's a very good strategy to start with no money or very, very little money. And I think right now in the current climate, it's very worrying for investors to even think about getting started in property now, because is it going to fall 5%, 10%? Will it be 25% like it did in 2008? Will it fall even further because it's a global recession, quote unquote, they're talking about right now. So nobody knows how far down it's really going to go. So why would anybody take all that risk to buy something unless they got a massive 40, 50, 60% discount? This strategy that you're focused on really is the number one way to get cash flow into your business right now, and to go forward fast and create something big and scalable right now in this climate where people are getting out, investors, landlords are getting out. And to get a guaranteed rent at this stage is like the holy grail for any landlord or any investor, because of obviously evictions and what Boris has brought out with protecting people from eviction for 3 more months, and then it normally takes 5 months on average. So it's a fantastic time to be offering guaranteed rent, which is rent to rent, to landlords right now. So yeah, let's just go deep into that, right now. So is there anything, have you done any studying, have you done any training, or have you just read everything you can about rent to rent so you understand it in that sense?
Literally, what I've done is, like yourselves, there's other people on the internet, YouTube videos, everything. Been on there, grabbed it, all the knowledge. What I personally know about rent to rent at the moment is, number one, first thing, the big question, it's definitely legal in the UK. Number two is that it's so much easier than it comes across. People think, for rent to rent, you need so much investment, but what I've learned from it is that you can literally start from £3,000 in your pocket minimum, and which I think is really, really powerful. Where I personally think I need more education, this is why I've come to you yourselves, is the legal side to it. So what I mean by that is the contracts is, what contracts do I need? What contracts do I need to get signed? If I go through an agent, what's the process? If I go directly to landlord, what's the process? I briefly have an idea, of course, because, like I said, listening to your podcasts, briefly have an idea, but it's just having that clarity, obviously the legal side, property can be quite difficult at times with evictions, making sure, you're using the right licenses so they're not under the Housing Act. Because what my ideal goal is to do rent to rent, but only to do short term.
Okay.
So service accommodation on Airbnb, Booking.com, start up on that. And additionally, obviously, because of everything going on during the pandemic, offering the services to key workers. Having the key workers, something you mentioned was holiday agreements. How the holiday agreement side works, and also how short-term let works. So short-term let meaning under 6 months. Um, it's just a holiday rent is a holiday. The holiday agreement and the short-term rental agreement, are they two different things? Are they the same thing? Just that sort of stuff, is where I'm struggling to get grips of it, and I'm sure you can help me.
Yeah, of course. Well, let's break that down. So you said obviously the right contract to use. Now, for example, we look at lots of different deals, and it really does depend at the time
Mm-hmm.
on the person that you're doing the deal with, because there is a one contract fits all, which most people or 99% of people would use, and that's okay. But for example, if some investors, they have clauses in their finance agreement, whatever finance they have wrapped around the property. So it may say they have to issue a 12-month AST, and that's part of the finance deal they've got on that particular property.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm talking about bigger deals, but this could be even on individual HMOs. It could be on a block of flats, which may mean not a huge block of 100 or 200 flats. It could just be an old house which was converted into 2 or 3 flats. So when they have that particular finance on a property like that, it can come with stipulations which would say you can only issue a 12-month AST. So in that case, we have to look at the deal, look at the landlord, look at whatever restrictions he may have, and then make sure he's on the right contract. Now, that's just one scenario. Then you have letting agents, which lots of the property sources, which will just find and sell these rent-to-rent deals, okay? They will just have it already signed up on their contract, which is just a generic company rental agreement. Now, I'm going to give you a copy of this agreement after this mastermind anyway, so don't worry about that. But that's just a company-let agreement, okay? And it's more or less just an AST for a company. Now, that's okay, but it gives you very, very, very little protection. So let me give you an example. We had a penthouse apartment in Brighton, okay?
Yeah.
Now, it was above a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
First 5 floors is a hotel. The remaining floors to the 19th floor are all luxury apartments, okay? Now, they're quite expensive. And it was always a holiday rental. It was bought for around about $750,000 for this flat, and it was always a holiday rental. So bought as a holiday rental, and it was absolutely fine. Maybe 10 years later, I did the deal with the guy, and we started running it exactly how he had it. He had it on Booking.com, he had it on Airbnb and Home and Away, and then we carried on running it as a short let. And then they formed a committee in the building to stop the short lets, because Airbnb on the lower floors were renting out the rooms and causing lots of problems and parties. And then the hotel residents on one floor below, which was the 5th floor, weren't happy, complained. They formed a committee, and it turned out that they used to have like weekly meetings of like naming and shaming all the Airbnbs, and then writing to the mortgage companies, which you can just find on Land Registry, telling them this, and are you in breach of the contract? And then they changed some things on the lease, the head lease in the property. And then what that meant was we can continue as a short letting company with that particular deal that we took on and put a lot of money in as a short let. If we was on this standard agreement, which most property sources and 90 odd percent of people use, which is just a company AST, there's no protection in there in case this one thing happened. So when you're on booking.com and you have bookings for, say, I don't know, well, say 12 months in advance, because you have festivals, you have, Pride event, you have the marathons, all the usual things, and then singers and musicians come into the Brighton Centre. So people book way in advance. It used to be up to 18 months, and we closed our calendar to 12 months. When you take those bookings and they're non-refundable, they've paid, okay? If anything happens to that property and you can't let those guests check in, booking.com will obviously claw that money back from you. It's in the agreement you sign with them, and they charge you a relocation fee. So to put those guests somewhere else, whatever the price is, if it's an event, it could be 10 times the normal rate if there's a big event on in the city, or a marathon, or New Year's Eve, or something like that, and there's nothing that we can do. So when some people enter into these agreements just with property sources, it's just a company rental agreement. None of these things are in there because they don't know about them, and then the agent doesn't know about these, and then it just leaves you or us, the investor, literally just holding the baby if that happens. And every day you don't want to be worrying, will I still be able to accommodate the guests next month if there's a problem with the mortgage company, if there's a problem with the neighbours, if there's this other problem, or if this contract isn't robust enough to actually let me do the things that I want to do. So what we've done is we use them when we have to use them on certain low-risk properties, because again, the balance is some landlords may not want to enter into our lease. They may see it's about 23 pages and they may think that's too complicated. I just want an easy life. I haven't got a solicitor to read through all of that. It's not like that. It's very simple and easy to read. But when they see a 25-page document, they can get a little bit nervous. So we always just try to fit the agreement with the person that we're in front of based on the calculated risk as well at the same time, because we don't want to lose the deal by giving them this big bundle of paperwork, but then we don't want to put them on the, what everyone else is using agreement, which they understand, but the second there's a problem, we've got no protection at all. So that's the balance. So what I'm going to do is give you a couple of agreements. One is the very robust one that we use, which has been drafted and amended and everything by a lawyer. Very easy, very self-explanatory, but there'll be some clauses in there that, I don't know, would take other people 10, 15, 20 years of making mistakes and then realizing, that mistake, well, we need to have something to indemnify us against that mistake. What happens if the tenants have to be evicted? Well, another clause that ensures that if your subtenant in there has to be evicted, you're protected. And then, well, what happens if they refuse to leave on the day they've got to leave when your contract ends? And then there's another clause for that. So all of these things that these other rent-to-rent people, which are doing okay, they don't think of, because they haven't been through recessions, they haven't been through, terrible economies and climates, and booking.com closing down and not accepting any bookings, and then they need to go back to the landlord and ask for a rent reduction. They haven't been through these problems and hurdles over the years, so they just don't know this information, and this is probably not what the rent-to-rent people are teaching on the courses that they have as well, because this is very deep. It's like a very advanced level. They will probably charge, their £10,000 or £15,000 mentorship fees that they charge, and it will take a long time to learn all of these things.
Yeah.
So there is a very easy agreement to use. I don't want to overcomplicate it and make it sound a bit harder than it is, but then there's other agreements that can be used at different stages. So when I give you the entry level one, which most people use, then I'm going to give you the one we use. You can even, sometimes what we do is we pull some of those clauses out of the serious one and just add them as a framework, some other ones that have to be in the company-let AST. Yeah. So we sometimes do that as well, but I'll give you both, and we'll go through them again another time when you have the first deal. We'll follow up on this as well. Okay. Then at least you'll know exactly why you're using those ones and the problem that you've now avoided by obviously understanding exactly what contract to use. So that's really important. You can make a lot of money or lose a lot of money. It's all in the contract, okay? Now, Let me give you another example. We've got another deal in, where is it right now? This is some joint venture partners that I have. This deal is in Bournemouth, actually. And they had all the consents to short let.
Mm-hmm.
It's a block of about 9 apartments. We've got the penthouse again on the top. We tried to go for the more prestigious ones so they're unique and they stand out. So the landlord entered into the deal. They live overseas. They were happy with the contract. They had all the consents from the lender and everything else. So it was all fine. And then again, the neighbours started complaining. And the neighbours wasn't happy with guests, even though they're decent guests. They're not like just partying and things like that. They're staying 2, 3, 4 nights at a time, working, but they wasn't happy with the amount of people that were coming or the different faces. And then it turned out that there was something in the lease which did have a restriction for that particular owner, but they signed a declaration to say they had the consent. So what happened is it got to the point where we had all of the bookings, like I just explained to you, where people have paid. And in the end, it worked out that the owner of the house has offered us a settlement for us to terminate that agreement to walk away early, which gives us all of the money back that we've lost in bookings. It gives us some of our costs back as well. And then there's another section which is like a gesture of goodwill for them to break it early. So if we didn't have these clauses in the agreement, we would just lose everything on the day, lose all the bookings, it would cost us the money, relocating all the guests as well, booking.com clawing the money back. And then what looked like a good deal, 3 months into it, could turn out to, lose a whole year's worth of profit plus all your ingoing costs. So
Wow.
these are other things that they don't think about with the contract.
That's absolutely crazy. That's that was really, really helpful. Do really appreciate that. And then of course that the agreement that I've come across is the management agreement. Is that the right phrase for it?
Yeah, that's a word that we use for ours. We call it a management agreement, which is it's basically a contract that, imagine like a letting agent works.
Yep.
They have a deal with the landlord or the owner to say, we're the company managing this property, here's everything we're going to do, and they would have, or this contract would give you permission to then issue one AST. Okay, without the landlord having to sign anything, without the landlord having to know their names, without the landlord having to approve them and decide if he wants to take them on, without any control from the landlord at all.
Mm-hmm.
So this contract, they would be signing over to say, you are allowed to sublet that property ethically with consent, so not breaching any rules, by only issuing one tenancy. So you can't have 2 tenancies. Mm-hmm. They can't enter into one with you, and you can't then enter into another one with somebody else, because then that is the subletting term, which everybody talks about on the internet. You can't do this, it's subletting, it's against the rules. Mm-hmm. That's just when people don't understand how to do it. They enter into one AST, then they issue their own AST. So this is a particular contract which says you have the power to enter into one AST or do anything else you want with the property, from short lets, from booking.com, from Airbnb to holiday rentals, and issuing an AST as well at the same time.
So where
adjusted volume, it seems like it's gone quiet again.
Can you hear me?
That's better. It seems like it's going quiet again. I'm just going to adjust something over here.
No problem.
Just put these into here. If you
can you hear me now?
That's better. That's better. Yeah, I've just made some changes. I was into this splitter on the side, and I've just plugged into this other device to make the volume better.
So the thing that really gets to me, which I always think about, is, say for example, I go to an agent, a high street agent today. They have a property that I want to rent out, and they've got the agreement with the landlord's got the agreement with the agent. Everything's good. Do I need to give anything to the landlord for him to sign from my end?
Okay, so if you're sourcing deals from a letting agent,
yeah.
Okay, would you need to give anything to the landlord, did you say?
Yes.
Okay, well, not necessarily, because the agent is acting for the landlord.
Mm-hmm.
So the agent would be finding you as a tenant as if they were finding any other tenant.
Yeah.
The contract they would sign you up on is their company let agreement.
Okay.
So all you would do is just behave like a normal tenant. So they would ask you how long you've been trading. Okay. Now some of them, this is the complicated thing with agents. Now we work with lots of agents. We get lots of deals from agents. And if you're a new company, then they can ask you to be a personal guarantor to the AST or to the contract. And they could also ask you to pay 6 months rent in advance if they think you haven't got any accounts and you may be high risk. They can ask for anything like that. But there's a way to completely get around all of that, which they don't really teach at this rent to rent, these training courses, or the entry level to these training courses. Because if you imagine, when you're a company, you don't have rights as a tenant as if you're an individual. So a company is not protected by the Housing Act. So what that means is, if a letting agent has one particular deal right now in this climate, you come along as an investor to say you want to run it as a short let. Somebody else comes along who just wants to live there on an AST. You're in a much better position and lower risk than any other tenant who wants to enter into an AST. Now, the reason for that is, if the tenant doesn't pay the rent or they look great on the application form on the first day, they pay the first month's rent, and then they lose their job, then obviously it takes up to 5 months to evict a tenant anyway, who's protected by the Housing Act. And with this extra thing Boris has brought in, it's 3 more months. So basically they're going to lose 6 months rent. That's it, right? Now, and they're governed by the Housing Act. With you, or with us as a company, this is how we sell it to agents. We say to them something they don't really think about. We say to them, we're a company. We're going to enter into a company let or a company management agreement, which means we're not protected from the Housing Act. So all that means is, if you don't pay the rent, or we don't pay the rent, or we breach the contract, it's 14 days notice, that's it. There's no court to go to. It's 14 days notice and you have to leave. If you don't leave, it's a phone call to the police, the same as if someone's in a hotel and they booked for 2 nights and they don't check out on the second night or the second day, and they say, we're not leaving. It's just a phone call to the police, and the police come and remove them. There's no housing rights. So a really good way to sell this right now to agents is, we're a company, so we're not protected from the Housing Act. So let's just say the worst happens with our company, we go back to zero, which is very unlikely because we're cash rich. Then it's just 14 days and we have to leave. There's no court, nothing like that. Now they will know, they've already got a month's deposit from you in advance. And then you paid a month's rent in advance. So you will never, ever actually be behind. So the landlord will never, ever lose out.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes
it's a really good way to sell it.
Crystal clear. Yeah,
so you're lower risk right now compared to any other tenant they find. So forget the company credit checks, forget the personal guarantees. We don't do any of that at all because we just don't need to. When you explain it like that, it just completely eliminates all of the risks that they had. So this is how we completely get around anyone who's starting out who thinks they've got to pay 6 months rent in advance, or thinks they've got to pay 3 months rent in advance, or be a personal guarantor, or don't get the deal because they haven't been trading for years. We just explain that one thing to them. We teach other people how to do this, and we say, just send this one email and tell them this. It's with your offer. We're a company. We're not protected from the Housing Act. You'll never be behind on the rent, even if our company goes back to zero. Would you rather us, or would you rather rent it to a high-risk tenant that will take you 9 months now to get out if they didn't pay the rent, or they just lost their job? So you decide, who do you prefer? And this works all day long.
I think that makes everything so crystal clear. Just one last question is, so say for example, I've got the deal, I've got the property on, everything's good, and I want to let the property to a essential worker, let's say, and they want to say, look, I can't go home for 3 months because I'm a nurse. In that case, what sort of agreement would you use in that sort of case?
Okay, in that case, And especially right now, because if you imagine, you're now becoming like the letting agent.
Yeah.
So you're now taking all the risks. So if you find a tenant and issue a normal AST to them, then they're now protected from the Housing Act. And if they lose their job, you have all of those headaches while you still have to pay the rent.
Yeah.
So for a very long time, we've been issuing holiday rental agreements. So if you can imagine, most of the time, these people want the flexibility to stay from 1 month to 3 months. Even if they wanted to stay for 5 months or 6 months, you would say to them, our company policy right now during the coronavirus is we only issue up to 12 weeks. Now, 12 weeks is the benchmark for a holiday rental agreement for a tenant to not assume the rights of an AST. If it's longer than 12 weeks, if it ever went to court, which is very, very, very unlikely, if they refuse to leave, they can start to claim, well, I was there for 4 months and I should get, or I should inherit the protection from eviction because I stayed past the 12 weeks. And then it's sort of out of your hands. It's for a judge to decide. So the best way to keep it very simple, you say to them, however long they wanted, we only issue 3-month holiday rental contracts to start. If everybody's happy, we can renew it, or we can extend it, or we can issue a new agreement, or that would be the term. And right now, you'd find people are asking for 4 weeks or 28 days for holiday rentals, or key workers, critical workers, security guards. They're staying with us from like 1 week to 1 month right now.
Mm-hmm. One question that was brought up. So, say for example, I put an advertisement on Airbnb saying that property available for essential workers, and they pay me through Airbnb, which they naturally would. I'm sure, am I protected through Airbnb if they don't leave, or do I need to issue a contract on my end?
No, in that sense, if you're doing it through Airbnb or doing it through Booking.com, they have their own set timelines of the longest length of stay that they would do. So it's like a hotel. It's still like a hotel. So you don't need to issue any contract in that sense if you're taking a booking from Booking.com or Airbnb. It's treated just like a hotel. So you don't get any contract with a hotel. It's treated just like that.
I think that makes everything so clear. All my questions are answered, all the different types of agreements. Just want a quick recap. So you said, say for example, I go straight to a landlord. I can use the standard management agreement or the complex agreement, which obviously you're very kindly gonna give to me. And then if I go for an agent, it's simply you tell them to do a company let, and that's for everything. And then going on to the tenant side. So the 2 ways I was looking to do the short-term let, which would be the holiday let, and that's the only one that I would use, obviously, because they're not covered under the Housing Act. And number 2, it would be through Airbnb or Booking.com, and obviously they have their own things to protect them. So that's everything that I wanted covered. Absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. Really, really, really do appreciate your time.
That's fine. Just to add something, the letting agent, whoever you use, will have their own company let agreement.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what you can do is I'm going to give you these clauses, and it's just things that will protect you further. So there's a few clauses that you would add. So you just email them and say, I just need you to add these as a special conditions. This is what I need to make this deal work. So completely happy to use your agreement, but I just need these few things added. And they're very simple. They will never say no to these. And it just gives you the protection that you need in other ways that you may not think about the exit as you're entering into the deal, but you have to think of the exit in case what ifs and what about that, or what if this happened, or what if they change the mortgage conditions, or what if somebody complained. So there's just a few little clauses. I think we've got them down to about under 10. So just 10 little points that we have to add.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds absolutely great. That's everything's crystal clear in my mind. Like now I feel so confident, and I think I can go out today, get a property and rent it out straight away. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate that.
That's fine, no worries. And then something else you said about money, you're looking for investment to get started.
So the investment I have, I can pull up to about, I can pull 5 figures. That's not a problem. My initial goal is number one, yes, credit is important. You can borrow in a business. Like There's good credit, there's bad credit. Good credit is important to borrow, but I won't get that as a company. And personally, I don't. I'd happily go to an investor. That's no problem. But before I pitch anything to an investor, like for example yourselves, I have belief in the business plan. That's no wrong. I believe 100%. But I want to have it tested. I want to have it, solid. So when it actually comes to me coming to going to an investment, going to, for example, you have, 6 figures to invest. I don't want you to invest the 6 figures and then me not, not have proved that the business works, not have proved that the things I'm doing actually work. So in this situation, what I want to do, I've got savings. I'm going to invest the savings into my business, and make it work. And once I've got, let's say, one, maybe two properties running, and I can show the figures, this is how much I'm making, X, Y, and Z. And then, of course, I'll contact the right investor, contact yourselves. Definitely, you'll be my first point of contact. Like that's a no-brainer. Obviously, contact yourselves. Be like, look, Ryan, this is how much I'm looking for, and this is how it's going to benefit both of us. If you're happy with that, then let's go ahead. But at this time of moment, I personally don't think it's ethically right for me to be asking anyone for investments.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Just something that you said there about, obviously you've got some funds. Let's just assume that you didn't have any funds at all to get started, and the only thing holding you back was money. Or let's say the amount of money you've got is restricting you from how many deals you can get into right now. Yeah. Because since this pandemic started, there's a lot more deals that will be available. There's lots more landlords that will prefer to work with yourself than rent to a tenant because it's less risk that we just spoke about. Yeah. And you can get much better deals now because things are going to, well, when the lockdown's lifted, when the government measures of propping up the economy, when they stop these 3 months of paying, furloughing people, when that stops, and then as the unemployment starts to rise, when all of this filters through, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. Yeah. So what it means is there's lots more deals out there. The landlords 1 or 2 months ago, which wasn't really happy to accept this structure, you to become a service accommodation provider in their property, now they're looking for whoever can pay the rent and give them the least amount of headache. Okay? So there's a lot more deals that are going to be available. So you could find one agent that you work with and you could get 2, 3, 4, 5 deals from them in 1 month. Mm-hmm. So if you're limited from the amount of money that you've got, there's another tactic which we share with investors, we share with people starting out, of how to use a property to raise some money. So did you listen to an episode of the podcast where it went through and explained?
It's where you can raise $9,000 from one property.
Yeah. Just use it as like an ATM machine. You have to do it. You have to have, okay, if you imagine you can look at properties right now, just rent them from landlords, even at the market rent or slightly below the market rent. Yeah. And then you can just re-let that property right now to a tenant who's happy to pay 3 months or 6 months, or students 12 months in advance. Okay, so if you imagine, go for it.
The strategy which really I personally think I'm going to use is the one that you showed on your live. I think it was not yesterday, the day before.
Yeah.
The HMO one.
Oh, the HMO, that's fantastic.
I'm very, very close to Uxbridge, and in Uxbridge is Brunel University. So I have access to many HMOs. Surprisingly, we have a family business, and next door to the family business, there's an estate agency who I have a really good relationship with. And I literally went there yesterday while I was out, and they've got 6-bedroom HMOs. Landlords are desperate, and that's the agreement. That's the strategy I'm looking to use to the best of my ability. And I've also been, when you're just sitting around, I've also been looking on Airbnb and stuff. There's loads more roomlets available for essential workers. And so what the initial plan is, obviously, if I can find someone personally, because I know people who work in the NHS, I've got connections like family, relatives, that they need accommodation at the moment. If that's the case, then obviously I can use a holiday let, which I'll have to get, and obviously we can discuss that later, where I can get that from and stuff. Or simply through Airbnb, put it on there, one medium double bedroom available with ensuite for X amount, depending on how the numbers fit. And obviously, you were saying to offer 150, was it the average rate per room?
That's what we're
150.
picking them up for right now.
Yeah. So
Individual rooms.
yeah. So if I offer that and then do the maths, make sure pay all the bills off, I can literally rent out a room for 450, £500 a month, which is a really, really good price in the area I live in. Like I said, I'm close to Uxbridge, West London sort of area, on right near Hazelhampton Station, right near at the crossroads coming there. So that's the long term, but it's a selling point. It always comes up in the conversation because I know this area really well as I was an estate agent in this area.
Brilliant.
So that's the strategy which I'm like, look, I've got to grips with that. I've got so many notes on it, and I'm just going to go all in for that strategy and just maximize and I can get as much cash flow as I want, and then getting the cash flow. Let's say, for example, I'll get 1,500 to £2,000 from this one deal. That can always go into another deal. Reinvesting the money, getting the cash flow is what the goal is at this time of moment. And we're not doing anything. We're on lockdown. We can't go out there. We can't be going out with friends. We can't drink. Well, why not just simply take your money and invest it? This is the best time to grow your business in my eyes.
It really is. I mean, so many people are doing nothing. They're just watching Netflix. They're just on social media,
Yes.
talking about crap and following crap and watching videos. When they're all going to get caught napping, it's like when they let everybody out soon, this starts to lift. Do you want to be in the Ferrari, ready to go, or when you're coming out the gate, or do you want to be the tortoise? You've missed what's going on and you've just lost 2 months or 3 months, whatever it is, and now you're just behind and you've got no job security, and then you've got problems with paying your rent and things like that. It's, you want to be prepared, because when this opens up again, it's like a massive reset. People will everything has more or less been reset across different industries at the same time. It's a massive transfer of wealth. I'm not talking blood in the water for sharks and all of those things. It's just a massive transfer of wealth. So those that are educating themselves and learning about different things right now are the ones which are going to be the new big companies in their area, the new massive influencers, the new, Apples in the future, the new Amazons, because it's like a massive reset right now. You've got airlines crumbling, needing, 750 million pounds to stay afloat. Someone else is going to come along and fill that space. Lots of different companies.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if you heard of the news. It's crazy how if you don't innovate and if you don't move with how things are moving, how your business could crash. A prime example is Primark. I'm not sure if you've read. They're using, because they don't have anything online, they're literally using £650 million a week.
Yeah, burning cash. Which
is £650 million like a week of cash flow in your business is like, I'm lost for words. Like I can't explain. That's absolutely crazy. Just because you thought, look, there's no point in me being online. That's where this time comes into account, where you can see, look, this is what my business is doing. This is what they're doing. They're doing better than me. What are they doing to be better than me? What can I do to improve my skills? This is the best time to learn in my eyes.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Put those foundations in. Learn as much as you can. Start talking to people, building a network, finding deals, so you're ready to go. You can still find deals now on the internet. We're doing virtual viewings. I went and picked up a set of keys. What are we now? Monday. On Saturday morning from another agency. It's another HMO. I think I spoke about it on the live. They used to rent for about 2,730. The tenants have just gone back to South Korea and China. They haven't got any money to pay the rent. They just left. And now they're like, this is just empty until mid-September. And we've done a deal just under £1,000 for this HMO. So it's like £900, £150 a room. It's immaculate in there, how they decorated it, new kitchen. Just needs a little deep clean and things like that. But, that will make us £1,500 a month until we get to September. And the chances are we'll probably extend it anyway. We have break clauses and we may pay a real low amount now. And as it gets to September, we may pay a higher rate, but still a little bit below, so we can make money and have it again for the next season. And some of those HMOs, we open them up in the summer as well on booking.com. But because of where they are and the student year finishes about June, we've got some 8 beds coming on now for booking.com. We've got some 6 beds, some 5 beds, just to alternate the strategy around the course of the year, because students like to come for 10 months, September to June.
Yeah.
And we just run it as a short let in between and make even more money for those 2 months or so. And then another batch of students or professionals come.
And just another thing, like my brother is a student, so I'm really up to date on that. So many student accommodations, especially the halls, they've given the money back.
They have, yeah.
They've given the money back. So this is where the opportunity where halls are empty. Like obviously you can't go out renting halls, but if halls are empty, HMOs are going to be empty naturally speaking. So you just need to go out there. Like the amount of numbers I have on here for landlords and agents is crazy. But the one thing which I don't know, in my opinion, is obviously there's a risk going out and doing viewings and stuff. So I want your opinion on this. Would you recommend myself, because obviously this is my first time doing this, got all the knowledge thanks to you. Would you recommend me going out today or tomorrow getting a deal, or would you recommend me to plan to have everything in place, have all the landlords I want to speak to, the agents I want to speak to in place, contact them, and then wait for everything to be over to take a deal? Or if I get the opportunity to take a deal now, just take it? What do you think? What's your view on that?
This is the thing. If you wait until it all opens up, then you've sort of lost the leverage, because you're then competing with everybody else. But there has to be a balance of, can you make the numbers work now? Let me give you an example. We're taking on deals now that we know we're going to lose money, right? But we're happy to even break even or just lose a little bit for a month, maybe 2 months, knowing we'll make all of it back in 1 month, peak July, peak August, peak September on booking.com. And then we've got that deal for 3 or 5 more years. So if you've got the money right now and you can cover breaking even or even a small loss until you get to the summer, then you've got the remaining 3 years or 5 years to make money on that property deal, because you may not still have the same chance to get it when the lockdown's lifted, when all the agents, it's like January when they first come back to work and they're all ringing everybody, ringing all the landlords. There's tenants everywhere wanting to move because they've just broken up with their partners or they've got New Year's resolutions. So all the viewings are starting again, and then you're competing with everybody else. So
while you were saying
if you
that,
can cover it,
yeah,
I would get some deals now. And landlords are looking for the solutions now. Okay.
Yeah.
And something that's in our agreement, which I'm going to share with you when I send it to you. We have a period of around 3 weeks from the day the agreement signed. Once the property is presented to us how we need it, like EPCs, gas safety, clean, windows clean, gardens cut, all of those things, that takes at least a week anyway. When it's presented to us, we do an inspection, we sign it off. Then our term starts around 3 weeks later. So if you can imagine, you get to lock the deal in now, but you're not actually paying for it until 3 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
In that lead time of 3 weeks, we're bridging the gap with short let people that just need a room, people that will take the house below the market rent just for 1 month or 2 months. And then it's covered our costs. And then we've got bookings coming in on booking.com ready for when we get to end of July or, end of June / July, August, September, knowing that will give us all of the money back in those few months, pay for everything, and then it's ours and it's cost nothing for the remaining 3 to 5 years. Just
as you said that, there 2 questions have popped up in mind. Number one, what length of term do you recommend for someone like me, someone who's new to the game?
Okay, for somebody like you, well, first of all, if you know it's in a very good area, and if you know that it will rent all year round on booking.com, and if you know what the figures should be, then you'd want to sign up for that property if it makes money for as long as possible, 3 years or 5 years. But student properties that we're looking at right now, because of some of the cities have got thousands of student blocks being built, thousands of rooms. The campuses have just got planning permission for something like 2,000 more houses or rooms, which has started. and the council at the same time have completely stopped issuing any HMO licenses. So what it means is there's a student problem, there's too many properties, it's oversaturated, and they're just completely stopping it. So now it's like a war against student houses. So as you can imagine, the demand is low now. It's the lowest it's been in 10 years. Next year, the demand will be even lower because there'll be less students coming, all the restrictions from the council, and now the campuses and the student blocks, which are brand new with snooker rooms, cinema rooms, lifts, brand new flexible in-out 1 month contracts. So the students are happy to pay a little bit more and be there. So what that means is if we lock ourselves into a 5-year deal now and a HMO for students, it may look good in year 1, year 2. It might be losing money year 3, year 4, year 5, unless you've got an alternative strategy, which ours is we just switch it around, change some of the decoration, change how it's presented, as long as it's in a reasonable area, and then it's for professionals. So we always like to go as long as possible, but you just need to factor in the risk. If booking.com doesn't work, can you do students? If students don't work, can you do the rooms? If it hasn't got a HMO license, are you paying more than it would rent to a local family if you had to just break even?
Yeah. So let me put you in a scenario. So there's a property available just near my local station. It's got amenities near it, like Asda, everything near it. It's a 6-bed, and using the strategy that you mentioned, I'm going to use that, put the offer forward. Let's say I put 150 per room plus bills. It comes up to about a total of 1,200 a month average. And for that situation, let's say I go into agreement for let's say a year or 2 years. Do you think that's reasonable enough in this situation?
Well, this is the thing. If it's let's say it rents for £500 a month per room, that's 3,000.
Yes.
If you can get it for around about 900 or even 1,000, then you've got a massive margin. So you've got a massive margin for error. So as long as possible on that. But what you'll find is they only really work when you're getting them way below the market rent at certain times in the year. For us, it's around September because all of the students are actually in, the semester started, and then anything that's empty is more or less going to stay empty. So right then, the landlords don't have any leverage. You or we have all the leverage because there's nobody else willing to rent it. So they will come down from, I don't know, we picked one up for 900 and it used to rent for 2,700. They've been used to getting that for the last 5 or 8 years. But because there's no students left, the semester started, it's actually going to cost them probably £200 a month on council tax, £100 a month on utility standing charges. So they're already losing that. So when we come along and say we'll pay 1,000, that 1,000's worth about 1,300 to them. But that's 1,300 they've got, which they would not have had at all the way up until next September. So those work at those times of the year. But and again, now they will work. But what you'll probably find is you have to look at a lot of deals and find the motivated landlords for them to agree that, unless you're spot on the timing, which is now because you're in the coronavirus. So lots and lots of students have left, the property's empty, they're not even going to bother with the eviction process, they're not even going to bother chasing them for the rent, but now the properties are empty. So right now, you can get lots of them from, so all of May, all of June, all of July, all of August to mid-September. So you can still get 4-month rentals, which will still make you money. Say you've got 4 or 5 of those, you can still make easy £1,000 a month when you're getting them at 150 and they rent for about 450. So that's the strategy now. We've got others to look at this week. The agents are ringing us, just saying this group of students have left. Is there anything you can do with this one? We just need a 4-month let. Can you do it?
Perfect. That literally makes everything clear. So I know where to look and where not to look now. Now it's thank you. I'm going to be on the floor as soon as we're done. Definitely be ringing out. Golden opportunities, few golden opportunities. It wasn't even me. The person came to me. This is actually quite funny. So as soon as I watched your HMO pod, your HMO live, I went down to just our family business, and the guy, he just walked into the shop and he started talking about property to me. Obviously, he knows, I'm in the property industry. And he was like, this is available, and I was like, But you have that light bulb moment.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ring him. I'm going to bother him until he's like, yes, here you go. Take the keys. And hopefully
Yeah,
that'll be
brilliant.
your first deal. Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, we've got to get the right agreements and everything in place. And just take it from there. Thank you very much, Ryan. That really, really appreciate your time.
That's fine. You're welcome. I mean, I'll get somebody in my team to email you after this, and then we'll make sure that you've got the copies of those contracts so you can look over them and the clauses. I'll highlight them so you've got them. And then as soon as you get your first deal, I'll be happy just to, when you've got the address, you've got the numbers, this is what they're asking for. I'll be happy to look at it as well, just to make sure that you're making the right moves, or if there's anywhere else you can extract some more profit. And just help you with your first deal, get that over the line as well.
Perfect. Just as you were mentioning, increasing the profit, one thing that popped up on my mind is when you do service accommodation, what sort of services do you provide? Because I've heard people say that they provide Wi-Fi, which is the basic you have to, it's a necessity in this day and age. So things about Netflix and other accounts, like as a starter, you think, look, I'm happy to pay for that, but once I know I'm getting cash, I want to increase my profits. That's the cash flow is the goal. What would you recommend? Would you recommend I go all in, get the Netflix, get the best Wi-Fi, get all everything required, or do I put it out, get the Wi-Fi? Obviously, that's a necessity, and wait out for other necessities, wait out for other amenities.
Well, to be honest, there's four things that we found are the best things for us, and it increases our profit on every single booking that we have by around about an average of 30%. Okay. And now what they are is you have to provide Wi-Fi. Everybody, if you think travelers staying in hotels, they expect Wi-Fi. They're not happy if they've got to pay for Wi-Fi as an upsell. That's just not really right. So they just expect Wi-Fi, and that's probably what, £17 a month. It's nothing. They have to include Wi-Fi. The upsells that we sell to the guests, which make us at least 30% on average across each guest, every single check-in, is early check-ins.
Mm-hmm.
Charge for those £15 an hour. Late checkout, we charge for those as well, £15 an hour. So they can check in they should check in from 3. We can extend it to midday. So that's £45 extra we could make before they've even checked in. And then the same with the checkout. They're supposed to check out by 10. We can extend that all the way back until about 3 p.m. if we have to. And it's £15 extra an hour that they will pay for. So those just two things. The next thing is parking. We always do deals with a local car park, an independent car park. So they may say to us, their local clients pay, I don't know, £200 a month, and they have one space and they have one car. We say to them, we just want to lease the space from you for the length of time we have the contract on our property, which is nearby. All of our cars will rotate, so we just need a space. We'll send you the number plate each time, and then we get a much better rate. So, for example, we get our parking in one city, and it costs us about £7.50 a day, right? But if you just turn up in the city to park, you can pay £20 to £40, depending on what car park you go to for 24 hours.
Wow.
So we make money on the parking, but we just include it in the cost of the stay. So we list all of our properties with free parking. But then if it was going to rent for, say, £150 a night, we would just put it up for, say, £170, knowing that that extra 20 is the parking. We're paying £7.50. It's making us £12.50 every single guest that parks. And then the last one is minibars. We use all of the fridges. We empty all of the fridges out and the freezers. And then we put like a presentation box in there from like Fortnum and Mason's or from Harrods. Just buy the boxes on eBay, and then we put champagne in there, we put wine in there, we put Prosecco in there. We just put like 6 Cokes, 6 Sprites, bottle of Prosecco, bottle of champagne, some chocolates and some nuts, just some consumables. And our mini bars are normally around about £150 for everything. On average, guests will spend probably about £15 with us, whether it's a bottle of Prosecco, whether it's a bottle of white wine, bottle of red wine, 5 Cokes and some chocolates and something else, or some gin and tonic, which are mixers in tins. So it generates around about an average of about 30% more for the cost of the stay. Just those 4 things. We tried lots of things, and those 4 work the best.
So the question that I have from the minibar and stuff, how do you go about charging them? So you put that on your listing, of course. There's a minibar involved. How does the charging work? Like, trying to get my head around.
When they check in, we've got set prices. So as soon as they check in, they've got a check-in email. So when they get the codes, it's got minibar prices in there. It will say cans of drink $150 for argument's sake. It will say bottle of sparkling water large $2.99. It will say a bottle of gin tonic mixer $4.95. These are the costs. We've taken a deposit from them. So anything that they use when the housekeeper goes there at the end and checks, because every time there's one Prosecco, one champagne, one white wine, one red wine, 6 Cokes, 6 Sprites, for argument's sake, so it's exactly the same. They restock the minibar and they mark what's gone. When we send the deposit back, it's less than minibar charges. And we make at least 100% on the cost. It's a 100% profit for us. Every item we have in the minibar, where we source it from, we make sure it can be reasonably priced, but we buy it and it makes at least 100%.
Okay, so on Airbnb, they was, because obviously I've used Airbnb, but there's been situations where I haven't had to pay a deposit.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing, of course, naturally, they'll pay a deposit and then you can charge from the minibar of the deposit. And then, that email that you're talking about, is that auto-generated on Airbnb?
No, it's something that we've drafted.
Okay.
And then it's just part of our system. We've drafted it. So as soon as they pay the deposit, then they get this welcome email with the checking codes that's already got minibar prices in. But we charge a deposit on every single property because you do get damage. You will get guests refusing to check out. If you imagine the checkout's 10 and they've had a few drinks the night before, or it's a group of some friends, they may just be like, oh, just forget it. We're not going to leave at 10. We'll leave when we're ready at 2.
Yeah.
The whole operation falls apart because your cleaners can't clean it. The next guests are affected. The next guest may have to stay somewhere else. So when you have a deposit, the deterrent is every 20 minutes we charge them past 30 minutes after their checkout time if they haven't vacated. So when they know that they're being charged, for example, £25 every 20 minutes, they're inclined to actually get out because their deposit is dwindling every 20 minutes. We don't want to do it to make money. It's just a deterrent to make sure they check out on time, cleaners can get in on time, get it turned over and ready for the next guest.
Okay. That and one last final question is:
Sure.
When you get the deposit in, do you simply just bank transfer it back to them? Is that how it works, or do you have to do it through a company?
No, for a long time we've used PayPal. Okay. Now, because of you getting in now, PayPal has changed its policy during the coronavirus. So up until I think it was about the 5th of March, there was a little trick with PayPal, because if you don't take the money out of the PayPal account, you don't pay the PayPal fees. So if you can imagine, all of the deposits we used to get into our PayPal account.
Yeah.
So the guest pays, for example, $150 deposit. Then if they didn't use anything at all, they get $150 back. Now we've administered that, collected it, and sent it back completely for free, because what PayPal used to do up until March is refund the transaction fee if you refund the money to the customer. So we've been doing deposits on dozens and dozens of properties, costing us nothing at all. So only the charges that we deduct, which might be, say, I don't know, say £20 or £30 per guest, we only pay the PayPal fees, which is 2.9%, I think it is, now on that balance, that £30, not on the 150 we collected.
Sorry, Ryan, just want to hold you there. My laptop's going to die. I'm just going to plug it in charge.
Sure, go for it. So anybody else listening right now, just make sure on Mondays you tune in. Make sure you go to the Property Crash Course community so you can get onto these lives, onto these episodes, get all of your questions answered on these masterminds, which we're doing every week at 10 a.m., streamed live and then broadcast after restreamed. And all you need to do is go to Property Crash Course in Facebook. It's a Facebook group. And just ask some questions in there, and we make sure that we invite you onto one of these lives every Monday to answer all of your questions around business, property, entrepreneurship.
Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Yeah. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and obviously really, really appreciate you sending them over all the documents that you are going to send over. So, which is what I think you mentioned, the company lets, the management agreement, and the holiday agreement. Are those the three that you mentioned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
AST
So,
holiday let. I'm just writing that down now.
yes.
AST holiday let and the management agreement.
Yes. So I really thank you very much. Uh, this session's been absolutely great. It's literally changed the way I thought I was actually going to work, or actually going out there and going about my business. That's slightly changed in my mind, and it's changed in a good way where I can actually go there and actually get the deal today if I wanted. It's allowed me to do. It's allowed me to do that, and of course having the correct documents, having the correct knowledge is to allow me to go 100% and all in. And that's yeah. Thank you very much. I can't thank you enough. And of course, in the future when I've got my first deal, I'll keep you updated. And for investments, if I need any investment, you'll definitely be the first person I'm contacting. But like I mentioned, I need to test the process myself and have I believe in the process, but I need to gain that trust, have a track record in order for me to present to yourselves, to show you, look, this is what I'm doing. It works in this area. This is how much money I can make. This is how much money we can make. And put that all into a bundle. Now that obviously we were connected with each other on all social platforms, I'm sure we'll keep in touch and just take it from there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I really appreciate that. Give me goosebumps as well. Those kind words that you're saying, and if there's anything that we can do or that helps, drive your business forward, and I'm so pleased that you got lots of value out of today that can help you think about, business, your company, property in a different way to help you go forward faster. So definitely stay in contact, stay in touch, stay busy on the social. Let us know when you've got the next deal and what you're looking at, and we'll always, try and get you back on here. And I really want you to get your first deal as quick as possible, get it out the other end, and then we can obviously once you've done that particular deal, your first deal, then we can review that and look at that, and happy to celebrate that and be part of it. That'd be really special.
Definitely.
Right?
Hopefully in the next, let's say, I'm predicting week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, I'll have my first deal. Going all out. I'm all suited up today. I'm gonna be doing viewings, calling agents. I know a few agents in my area who are actually surprisingly still open.
Yeah,
So
brilliant.
I'm going to be popping in there straight after, we're off the call. Had an early start today, which gives me a lot of time, during the day to actually go talk to the agents, and hopefully I can get something today. If not today, there's always tomorrow. We just got to keep them going.
Certainly, just keep going. You get lots of knockbacks, but then when you get that one deal and that one deal over the line, it makes all of those knockbacks and rejections worth it. So just make sure any other questions you have, just post them in that brand new community we set up, which went live today, because everybody that we're talking to will start to go into there, and then they can see your questions and the answers. We'll answer them as well in there.
Yep.
And then they will learn from what you've done, and then that will help other people. And then the next people that come in will help, obviously, you with other questions you haven't thought of. So it's a brand new community we just launched. It's a private group. So yeah, jump in there, the Property Crash Course.
One last thing, if you don't mind me adding,
sure,
is I personally believe in having a good mindset, all the time, every time. And what I've started in myself is, I'm sure you can check that out. So is on TikTok, I've started putting daily motivation out. I haven't done it today. Daily, I do about 3 videos a day talking about, what successful people do, how their mind works, what habits they inherit, and how some of them have failed and got back up. And just helping the generation of this generation of entrepreneurs get through to be one of the best generation of entrepreneurs, the youngest millionaires, the youngest billionaires. That's the goal. And I want to help people with the same mindset as me. Typically, some people, they read one book and it doesn't affect them. They need to see how it's affected other people. Some people learn in different ways, and the way I've learned is watching other people, and I just want to support that. And that's why I'm putting videos out on TikTok. My TikTok is Ashneet, spelled ASHNEET, N for November, 163. That's my TikTok. I'll repeat again. Ashneet 163 is my TikTok. If everyone listening to this podcast, everyone listening to this call, and yourself, Ryan, if you want some motivation, head over to my page. let me know what you think of my views, of the habits that I'm putting out there, of the opinions I'm putting out there. Let me know. Let's have a conversation. Let's build a community, and let's thrive for success.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll definitely check it out. All right. Good luck with talking to those agents today.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks for being on the show.
No worries. Thank you for inviting me.
If you're already shortletting on Booking.com or Airbnb and you're not generating 8,200 for your 3 beds, 6,200 for your 2 beds, or even 4,100 for your 1 beds each month, then oh my goodness, you're losing money every single month. Now, I created an ebook to show you exactly how we hit those numbers consistently in my business, and I want to give you a free copy so I can show you exactly how you can do the same. Just go to www.theyrentanyhome.com/free book and tell me where to send your copy. Does that make sense? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's better. Go for it. So you were saying your question was?
So I'm talking to this company who they do build to rent, and they said that they don't have any landlords as of yet. It's a company that owns it. So my first question was, whose number do I get down to give to you? Would it just be the agents, or would it be someone else's?
Well, if you're talking with the owner or the developers, it's a lot easier to speak to them without an agent in the middle. But if you've only got the agent's details who are representing a developer, then we can only speak to them.
Okay, that's fine. And my second question was, would you still like the 30-day period of no rent?
We do. We get that 21 to 28 days on every single deal that we do, especially now in this climate. It enables us to photograph it, furnish it, style it, dress it, market it, bring it to market. So yeah.
So what you need is, so would you pay the deposit on the property first of all?
We pay the deposit and the first month's rent all in advance when we do the deal. Then they've got all the money. Then we get access, and we've got the first 28 days for us to launch the property, photographs, marketing, viewings. And if you think about it, every tenant has to give a month's notice wherever they are anyway, in whatever property they're in. So that goes in line with that.
Okay, so say you give the first month's initial rent to them.
Yep.
Don't you technically pay for the first month's rent anyway?
Well, we give it to them, but it starts from the 29th day after the contract has started once we've got access. So we give it to them like today. We get 28 days free, which is just access to dress, style, photograph. The 29th day, the rent we've already paid starts from that day.
Okay, fine. Okay, that's... Okay, I'll look that into thing.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking, so say if I want to start this eventually, and say I do get like clients coming in for a week, how would I keep up with the housekeeping, like making sure that everything's okay for the next people?
Well, this is the thing. When you're first getting started, it's harder because you need to find a housekeeper that's that flexible, that's used to working in hotels, that can work on an ad hoc basis with you. So they check out at 10 and they check in from 3. So during that time, the housekeeper's got to go in with all the linen and the cleaning and the soaps and everything else and towels and get it ready for the next guests.
Okay.
It's difficult when you start, but when you've got multiple properties, you can then have a part-time or full-time, the same housekeeper.
Okay, fine.
Or you use a company. If you use a company, they charge a lot of money for turnovers. They charge probably about £60 on average to do the linens and to clean an average 2-bed apartment.
Every time?
Each time, yeah. The companies that do it, they charge a lot. So you've got to recruit the team yourself.
Okay, that's because I'm gonna go. I've got for the build to rent. I'm gonna try and discuss some deals tomorrow, and I'm gonna try and push them to give me quite a few of their properties that they're trying to sell. And if I send them your way, I'd get introduction fee for the ones I've introduced, right?
Yeah, definitely. If we do a deal with them, 100%, yeah.
Okay. I'll just make sure because because I've spoken about the briefing to them, and they seem quite interested. So I'm going to try and push them to give me quite a few of them. Okay.
All right, fantastic. And you're finding it all useful, the modules and the training in there?
They're perfect. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I'm really glad. I'm really pleased.
Thank you for allowing me to get access to them.
No worries. You're welcome. Like I said, we don't sell that. That's just for our partners, joint venture partners. We're just trying to build up some reviews, get people inside making money, get some feedback, get some video testimonials, and then we'll use that to recruit another group of agents and partners.
Okay, fair. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
All right?
Okay. All right, yeah.
Good.
Thanks so much.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, podcasters. It's Monday morning right now. I think this episode I'm recording right now is actually going out right now today on Monday. Now, that's because business is tough. Business is fast-paced. Entrepreneurship is moving just like that. I mean, every day there's deals to look out, meetings to have, numbers to crunch, investors to keep happy, people to entertain, dealing with problems, putting fires out, and all of the other crap, which I actually love. Don't get me wrong, I love all of that. I love the process, I love the chase, I love the game, I love everything about the ups and downs, the wins, the losses, and everything in between running a business. But things just, things just get in the way. I mean, I'm recording this podcast right now on Monday. It's around about 11 a.m. and this is actually going to go across to my editor. Adam's going to edit it, and this episode will still go out today. Now, that's just because I'm actually in the trenches doing the deals, structuring the deals, meeting the clients, meeting the investors, putting the deals together, keeping people happy, and everything else that comes in between running a business and being an entrepreneur. I mean, anybody who tells you that investing in property or being an entrepreneur or running your own company is easy is either deluded, or they're lying, or they're just trying to sell you some fucking shitty course on how to do whatever it is they're trying to sell you. And if they're claiming it's easy, if they're claiming it's fast, if they're claiming there's shortcuts, if they're claiming there's quick wins, if they're claiming there's fucking hacks, if they're claiming, just do this formula, follow this system, it's fucking bollocks. They're talking shit. Excuse me for swearing so much. I'm passionate about this. It's because they're just trying to sell you some dumb shit, or they're just trying to fake floss on Instagram and pretend that they are an entrepreneur running a successful company. That's all bollocks. Right now, this episode is late. It's only going out now, Monday. Mastermind's on Monday. I haven't got anybody to mastermind with today, to be fair, because I'm fucking busy. Because I'm busy, we're making money, we're doing deals, we're structuring deals, and everything else in between. Let me give you an idea of what we're working on right now. What's been taking up most of my time is hotels. We're working on some big hotel deals. Some hotels that can accommodate just under 80 guests. That's 80 guests, 80. Some big hotels we're working on right now, which are worth, how much are they worth? In the region of £6.5 million. So we're not messing around on tiny little deals, individual deals, tiny little ones and twos. We're trying to work on some big fucking projects right now in my company where we can get control, take over fucking hotel buildings that can accommodate just under 80 fucking guests. Now that's taken all of my time with negotiations, with structuring, with refinements, and somebody comes back and they ask for a little bit more, the owner, and then we have to move something else and then change something around and then restructure some things, and then we get to find a close balance of where we are. And then they ask for something else. I have to counteract that something else they ask for with something else over here. Sometimes it's more time, sometimes it's more money they need, sometimes it's more resources, sometimes it's a higher return, Other times it's they want dates back, they want to use it on certain dates, or they have, things or events that are happening and they book things in the calendar, etc. So they want to do the deal, they want to have their cake and they want to eat it at the same time. Now, I've got nothing wrong with that as long as everybody fucking wins. As long as everybody wins. That's just one big deal we're working on right now, which has taken up a lot of my time, hence Monday morning. I'm recording this episode right now, and this will actually go out live today as well. I'm also standing right now in another building we have right on the seafront, overlooking the sea, overlooking the pier, and it's been, it's having a facelift right now. I'm talking everything. Carpets cleaned, all the walls re-emulsioned, painted, ceilings. I'm talking all the woodwork, all the skirtings, all the doors, absolutely everything is being painted. It's having a massive deep clean. It's having the carpets clean. It's having some, things are being replaced, etc. We've got a few days where we've got a little break because it's booked back to back. And now we're just making some improvements right now while we can, ready for when the season reopens. To be fair, our season hasn't even stopped. Even from the 23rd of March lockdown, our season has not even stopped. In fact, to be totally honest, this is no crap, this is no BS, this is not to sell you anything because we haven't got anything for sale, okay? Now, our season has actually taken off from the 23rd of March. Yes, we had a little bit of downtime while we restructured things, having dozens and dozens and dozens of properties open and empty on the OTAs because they're all run as corporate lets, short lets, etc. That side of the portfolio, we got other things going on. We got HMOs, we got professional rooms, we got hotel rooms, all of those things. That's a separate part of the portfolio. But this part I'm talking about, we had to do things differently. So our season hasn't even finished. In fact, we're generating more money, we're doing more deals, we're taking on more deals, we're meeting more clients, we're networking with more agents, but not just messing around, networking, exchanging cards and, commenting on their posts. We're meeting them in person, working out what the fuck can we do together right now? Can we make some money together right now? Can we find some more deals together right now? Can we structure more deals together right now? Can we do 50-50 over here instead of 100% of nothing over there? So these are the things that we're doing right now, which is why I'm fucking busy. I'm in one property right now. I've got the team which are going to turn up in the moment. I'm recording this before they even get here so I can have, 15, 20 minutes of silence and just crack on and record some episodes for you guys to give you guys as much value as possible this week. So I want to know what you're doing in your business right now. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're an investor, if you're a property investor, if you're a business owner, if you're building a business, whatever strategy or whatever structure, whatever you're using, I just want to know what you're doing right now. Because if you're not doing a lot, if you're just sitting on the sofa, if you're watching Netflix and having ice cream, or you're eating fucking chocolate, and you're fucking waking up late and not really doing a lot because it's a lot easier than making money and digging deep inside yourself to find out where the opportunities are, then you suck. That's right, you suck. If that's what you're doing right now because you can't get off your ass, you can't find opportunities, you can't look around, you can't pivot, you can't maneuver, you can't do a 180-degree turn and find where the opportunities are, then you probably shouldn't even be an entrepreneur. You shouldn't even be in business. If you're there just lying down at home watching the news, fucking talking crap to everybody else who's also talking crap about the riots, which are fucking terrible all over the world, about coronavirus, which is fucking terrible all over the world, about the economy, which is fucked all over the world. If you're one of these people that's just talking crap and not doing anything, then you don't deserve to be an entrepreneur. You don't deserve to be in business, and you deserve that L above your head or on your forehead. Have that shit tattooed on your forehead. L is for loss. L is for loser. Now, I don't want anybody listening to this podcast, my podcast, following my content, anyone who subscribes, anybody who listens to these episodes. I don't want anybody to be feeling like that. I don't want anybody to be losing. I want you guys to, get some inspiration from this podcast, find out what can be done in property, in business, in entrepreneurship, so you can, build the financial wall of security around your family. You can pull your family through this coronavirus. You can, pull your family, through the barriers and over the hurdles with the financial challenges in the way, the coronavirus in the way, the economy being closed. But there is masses amount of opportunities out there right now. Let me give you an example, you guys. Let me just drill deep, real fast, quick fire about where some opportunities are right now in my business, and any of you guys listening can emulate this and you can do the same. Okay, first one. Whether you're in property or whether you're not, you will know property makes money. You will know most of the people that have built their wealth, millionaires, billionaires, and the next trillionaires most of them have made it on the back of property. Okay, now that can be a long game, which is great. I talk about that in other episodes. But some quick wins. This isn't a hack. It is a business. It is hard. It's not easy. It still takes time. But this is the quickest way that I know that anybody on here right now listening to this can make money from property by doing this. You go on the internet. I'm going to give you some tactics. You go on the internet, a website. It's called Gumtree. Type it into your browser, Gumtree. You search your city or any city nearby. Has to be a city. Forget the towns. Forget the villages. You click on the left-hand side, or the top, property to rent. Then on the left-hand side, you click private. Fuck agency, forget agents, that's another strategy. Now you've got a list of properties in your area, your city, that they are to rent from a private landlord. Click on every single fucking one in your city. Send them a message along the lines of something like this. Dear landlord, or whatever their name is in the advert. I'll leave that in brackets. Put their name in. You have to actually do something, okay? Put their name in. Dear whatever the landlord's name is, or landlady. I see you have this 2-bed, 2-bath property available to rent. I'm a relocation company. I have clients right now. I would like to rent this property from you for however long. 3 months, 1 month, 6 months, 2 years, 12 months, 3 years, whatever the fuck you want. I would aim for somewhere around 12 months or more. As long as possible for me, but let's just say around 12 months unless they're advertising the property as a short let. If they're advertising it as a short let, don't ask for 12 months. Ask for whatever they're saying the maximum. They may say 3 months, they may say 6 months, they may say 4 months, they may say 2 months, okay? Because you've said you're a relocation company, lots of them won't even come back to you, some of them will. The ones that do come back to you are fucking interested in doing some business with you, okay? Now, all you do is the property is fully furnished because you're looking for fully furnished. The property is ready to go. You want to run it as a short let. All you're doing is photographing it, putting it on fucking booking.com. Forget Airbnb. Fuck Airbnb. Airbnb is old news. Forget Airbnb. I'll explain in another episode why we came away from Airbnb in 2016. Forget that crap. Put it on booking.com. They will charge you 15% for every guest that they send you. Would you exchange £15 for £100? Would you give £15 for £100 back? If you would, put it on Airbnb, booking.com, Forget what everybody says about booking.com's fees. They will charge you 15%, that's it. To send you £100, you're paying 15. To send you £1,000, you're paying 150. To send you, you can do the maths. You guys can do the maths. And they will keep a constant supply of guests coming to your property every single month. Now, this is how this works in a bit more depth. Every £1,000, this is a rule of thumb, that we spend on rent, which is what you will find on Gumtree, fully furnished properties that you contact these landlords or landladies. Every £1,000 the rent is advertised at, we collect £3,000. So we pay the landlord £1,000, we collect £3,000. Now, if you're wondering, how can I do this? Is it a lot harder than it seems? Yes, it's a business. No, it's not easy. But if you want to replace the average salary right now, because you can, because there's a massive amount of opportunities in the market right now because these properties are fucking empty, the landlords and landladies are nervous. The OTAs like Airbnb are just not working. But there is ways to make it work, and I want to share those with you guys, okay? Remember, there's nothing for sale here. I'm just trying to help you guys. So all you need to do to find out more about this is go across to my website. I'm trying to think what it's called now. God, dear. I have a mental block. Bear with me 1 second. I have an ebook which I created. Don't worry, it's completely free, and it will share the tactics that you need right now to profit from property, from this particular strategy right now in fucking June 2020. So all you need to do is go to my website. I've just remembered the link. It's called www.ryan-otto.com. As you scroll down, there's 3 giveaways. There's 3 things that are completely free. It's 3 sets of training. The first one is called Property Crash Course. That will take you deep into lots of things related to property. Have a look at that. There are tactics that work right now. The one I'm sharing with you guys right now is the second one down. It says something like how landlords can increase their rent by up to 199%. That's the one you want to click. You just click it. You listen to the video, watch the video, put your name in, put your email in, and I send you that shit straight away. It's completely free. There's no upsells. There's nothing at all for you to buy. It's an ebook. It's 64 pages. I'll take you deep into this particular strategy that works so you can rent a property from a landlord. Every £1,000 of rent you pay, you get to collect around £3,000 revenue every single month. Now, why am I giving this to you guys? Because I care about you, to be honest. There is nothing for sale here. It helps me build my brand. It helps me give value back to the community and reciprocity. Maybe one day you'll find some deals, some bigger deals that you can't actually do. Maybe you need funding. Maybe you need a joint venture partner. Maybe they're out of your comfort zone. Maybe they're not in your city. Maybe you don't have the money. Maybe you just want to partner with someone that has done hundreds and hundreds of these deals. Then you will think of me for helping you, giving you the start so you can get going right now. Then you'll come back to me and we can make some money together. It really is that simple. So go across there now, ryan-otto.com, scroll down, there's 3 videos, 3 different sets of training. Shit, take all 3 if you want, but get the ebook. Get the free ebook, okay, 64 pages. And then let me know what you think. Find me on social. Leave a review on this podcast. I mean, fuck, I deliver these podcasts to you guys every single day, showing you how to make money, how to build your company, how to, invest in property, how to be a better entrepreneur, how to make more money and grow your team and scale your company and everything else. All I want you to do, guys, is just send me a fucking review. Would any of you fuckers just send me a review on here, on Apple Podcasts? If you like this shit, if you got any value from this episode, these episodes, if this helps you make more money, I'll keep sending you podcasts for free. Well, just give me your 5-star review and a rating. Have a good day. Happy Mondays.
He's a #1 Amazon bestseller. He's an NLP manipulator. He's a property course seller. He's a Lamborghini driving multi-millionaire property guru. Forget that same old boring I am me narcissistic podcast format, because nobody gives a fuck. This podcast is all about you. So I'm taking these few seconds to thank you for subscribing, to thank you for leaving your 5-star reviews, and thank you for sharing this show with all of your friends. My team and I will keep bringing you these episodes and answering all of your burning questions in my Facebook community group called Property Crash Course. If you can just keep telling all of your friends about this show.